Welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. I am back. Supposed to be on at 7:30, but uh was tired, had to eat, had to just kind of come blessed, that sort of thing. But here I am, back again. Want to talk about Donald Trump's running mate, JD Vance. And we'll talk about his wife, Usha. Talk about Donald Trump himself. And we're going to talk about Nick Fuentes. Thank you, Warren. I figure it's kind of an '80s theme. This is what people wore in the 1980s. Um, just sort of kind of give it that whole feel about it and everything. So, and while I do not think we're going to have a 1984 style Ronald Reagan landslide, 49 states. Thankfully, we're not going to have that. It's going to be a bloodbath in November. Whether Joe Biden is the nominee remains not. Whether Kamala Harris is given the reins of power or not, or whether it's Gavin Newsom or whoever is going to be the sacrificial lamb in the great toasting of 2024. And before I get started, my prediction is this. This is my prediction. My prediction is that Donald Trump will beat the Democrat like there's no tomorrow. I mean, he will beat the shit out of the Democrat running. The Democrats will lose their shit. Probably not to the level of January 6th insurrection, but they'll lose their shit a little more than they lost their shit in 2016. They will blame Jill Stein, as they did in 2016. They'll blame Cornel West. They'll blame Chase Oliver, the Libertarian Party, which is silly. I mean, I can see where they'll blame Robert Kennedy a little bit, but then they'll go and blame Bernie Sanders and the AOC for making the parties too far left, which is silly because it isn't. And then they'll go and blame Russia. And then the Democratic Party, what tiny little progressive steps they took in the last few years, they'll go back into the Clinton direction. That is my prediction. And everybody's going to be scared to be bold and take a quote unquote Bernie move on anything. That's my prediction. And this is all the argument for third party to replace the two-party system. So that's my prediction right there. So anyway, let's get started. And let me go and do my shout outs real quick before we get started here. Warren says, live and in Technicolor. That is so true. Snipe Hunter says, this pick is so 80s. And that pick was very 80s. Yeah. Hello, the Willie Bragg Show, Extra Bulla. Hello, Snipe Hunter. Yes, absolutely. Miguel, how are you doing? Great seeing you again. And it's great seeing everybody here, by the way. All right, let's see here. Desert Mantis, how are you doing today? The shirt shows your checkered pass, Willie. Oh boy, don't I have a checkered pass. Let's see. Hey, folks. Hey, Johnny Ringo. All right. Let's see. Nick Fuentes is the alpha male, beta male of beta males. Nick Fuentes is quite something. So anyway, we'll get to the subject at hand. So, as you know, Saturday, Donald Trump got shot. I mean, my take on Donald Trump getting shot. I mean, I think that political violence is never justified, never to be called for under any circumstances whatsoever. It is wrong. It is wrong. It is wrong. I mean, it goes without saying. I don't care who you are. It is wrong. But suffice to say, Donald Trump survived it. and he chosen his running mate, and his running mate is JD Vance, Senator JD Vance of Ohio, the junior senator, serving alongside with Sherrod Brown, the senior U.S. senator. And he was born in 1984. He's 39 years old. He's a lifelong Republican, married to Usha Chilikuri. I don't think I butchered her name. And that's partly what the controversy is about. The controversy is not with me, it's with Nick Fuentes. He's got 3 kids, he's an author, a lawyer, blah, 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 and he was actually a never Trumper initially, a Republican never Trumper. And before I get started on this, let me just say that from day one, when this whole Trump thing came out in 2016, I had said, never trust a Republican never Trumper. They're, for all the resistance, pink pussy hat wearing liberals out there, that they look at a never Trumper. Oh, he's our ally. Here's the thing about Republican never Trumpers. They'll sit there and talk shit about Donald Trump. Say he's a fucking asshole. He's evil. He's this. He's that. Usually when they're shitting on Donald Trump, they're usually shitting on Donald Trump from the right. Not from a position of moderation or liberalism. They're usually shitting on him from the right. They're like, oh, he's too anti-war. He's too much of a protectionist, and some people even said that he was a closet liberal. I mean, I remember in 2016, I had a coworker said, well, I remember when he said he was for single payer. I can't trust him, and even Rush Limbaugh. One day at the South Carolina Republican primaries, Donald Trump was like, he was slamming on Jeb Bush and slamming on Marco Rubio, slamming on Ted Cruz, and he got booed, viciously booed. Donald Trump got viciously booed in the audience, and he was sounding anti-war, and I wouldn't listen. I would never support Trump, but if there was a time, if there was a time I was rah Trump, it was at that particular debate. And he smacked the shit out of Ted Cruz, smacked the shit out of Mark Rubio, smacked the shit out of Jeb Bush. I mean, like, they were all ganging up on him, and he slapped all 3 of them. I mean, not physically, but, I mean, he with his sharp wit at that time. Doesn't mean that I liked him, but on the stage, he was the least bad person on that stage. So much so that when Rush Limbaugh that Monday morning, because I used to listen to Rush Limbaugh, not because I like him, but because I was in the car all the time, and when right wingers say you never listen to Rush Limbaugh, you slam on Rush Limbaugh. Listen to plenty of Rush Limbaugh, but he'll be like, he was slamming on him. He's like, hey, he sounded like a Bernie. He sounded like Bernie Sanders, and he's trying to appeal to Bernie Sanders supporters. We don't want him to appeal to them. What is he doing? That sort of thing. So Rush Limbaugh was a never Trumper, kind of a never Trumper. Mark Levin was a never Trumper. Ben Shapiro was a never Trumper. Glenn Beck was a never Trumper. They all came around and they became Trump cocksuckers, because when Trump became president, he did a lot of right-wing things that they like him to do. They still complain about him on a couple of policy issues here and there, but they love the tax cuts for the wealthy, and they love the deregulation shit and everything. And they definitely love the culture war shit, as he discarded the populism of 2016. And in 2020, he basically sounded like just another Republican campaigning. So, 2016, he didn't really sound all that right-wing campaigning. But in 2020, he sounded like every other Republican I could ever hate, with this Insurrection Act bullshit and everything. So anybody who thinks that, just because I don't shit on Donald Trump nonstop, that I somehow like Donald Trump, I got plenty of criticism of Trump, okay? But I just don't think he's worse than George W. Bush. But suffice to say, JD Vance was one of those never Trumpers. That's my point. He was one of those never Trumpers in 2016, saying things like, this is another Adolf Hitler, and he's unhinged, and all this sort of things. And over the years, he ended up becoming a little bitch for Donald Trump. Just like Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham basically was attacking Trump from the right in 2016. And now, what is Lindsey Graham? He's a little bitch boy for Donald Trump. So never trust a never Trumper. And on policy, there's a little bit of a populism talk coming from JD Vance. But JD Vance is viciously anti-union. He's kind of talking loosey-goosey about it. It's sort of the same way that Donald Trump did in 2016. But JD Vance is a free trader. Donald Trump is consistent. He was always a protectionist. One of the things he has going for him. But he came around and decided to conveniently grift into a protectionist position. He was kind of neoconish on a host of issues. And he's kind of sort of succumbing to the America First thing, except on striking Iran hard. That's not being America First. That's sounding very Bush Cheney neocon. It's making the Ben Shapiro's happy. It's making the Mark Levin's happy. It's making the John Bolton's happy. He's Israel, first. He's strike at Iran. He's wanted to start a war with China, but he's kind of correct on Russia and Ukraine. Like, we don't need to really be involved in Russia and Ukraine. I guess that's a start. But, it's one thing to be correct on one policy issue, foreign policy-wise, but what's the point if you're going to end up being typically neocon everywhere else? Look at Joe Biden. I don't care what anybody says. Joe Biden was correct to pull the troops out of Afghanistan in 2021. And if he wouldn't have gotten us in any new wars since then, we wouldn't be calling him Genocide Joe. We had reason to call Joe Biden Genocide Joe today. So, he's still a typical neocon. This guy, JD Vance, is basically, how I word this? He's Ben Shapiro meets Dan Crenshaw without the eye patch. That's what he is. Don't trust the fake populism of JD Vance. That's what I have to say. On social issues, he's pretty bad. He's pretty bad on a host of issues. He's not really all that keen on LGBTQ rights, and he's really bad on no-fault divorce, wants to bring that back. He wants to do all these things. It's major Pat Robertson stuff. He was raised an evangelical Christian, but he's a convert to Roman Catholicism. So this is basically JD Vance in a nutshell. So overall, it's a bad choice. Now, I'm going to just for a moment pause on JD Vance because I like to rub it in against a certain person wanting to be Donald Trump's vice president. And I'm going to do it with a commentary from somebody who's a friend of the Willie Bragg Show, and that's Blue Moon Red Wine, and what she had to say about JD Vance versus this other person who wanted to be Donald Trump's running mate. So you take it away, Blue Moon Red Wine, Lucy, who is running against AOC in the 14th Congressional District in the Bronx. Take it away, Lucy.
Good morning. I wanted to do a short episode today on Tulsi Gabbard and how she failed ultimately to get the VP nomination from Donald Trump. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, no matter how hard you kiss Israel's ass, there will always be someone that does it better than you. And that's the lesson for Tulsi Gabbard. Um, so here we go. JD Vance recently was nominated as president, vice president, by Tulsi Gabbard, vice president nomination. And Tulsi Gabbard just put out this tweet that says, um, it appears that President Trump may have chosen JD Vance for his VP. If so, that is a good choice. So Tulsi, she always pretends to keep it classy, even though she's a huge Zionist cuck, bitch of Israel, 100%. But you know, she plays it. She plays it cool. She tries to play it polite, even though she's obviously, I'm sure she's devastated by this announcement because she was kissing Israel's ass much more than JD Vance. She was trying really hard. She was going through all of the motions. She was pandering 100% over the past 9 months while kids were getting blown up in Gaza. Tulsi Gabbard had absolutely nothing to say about the genocide taking place in Israel by Israel. And even with everything that she gave these hardcore Zionists, she still didn't get promoted. Boo hoo. Boo hoo. Tulsi Gabbard didn't get promoted. Tulsi Gabbard didn't get promoted. So anyway, that goes for constituent 808 and everyone that had like these huge blinders on regarding Tulsi Gabbard and her utter support of Israel while they were, they just like constituent 808 on Twitter. I swear to God, his blind spot on this is so severe. And
there's a lot of people who are still delusional about Tulsi Gabbard to this day, and just like Lucy seeing the bullshit about AOC, she also calls out on the bullshit on Tulsi Gabbard, and so I always appreciate her perspective, and she's sometimes a guest on the Willie Bragg Show, and always enjoy chatting with her on the show, and I'm sure she'll be back again soon on a future show. So, but she's right about that. Tulsi Gabbard is devastated. She played it cool because JD Vance was the chosen one and not her. And I'm personally glad that Tulsi Gabbard wasn't chosen because I have some normie progressive friends that would have been rubbing it in on me nonstop about Tulsi Gabbard being Donald Trump's running mate. And and they would love some of them would love to tell me how correct Hillary Clinton is and everything. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I don't like Tulsi Gabbard's grift to the right, and I want to make that abundantly clear. But even though that Tulsi Gabbard has grifted to the right, she's still a better person than Hillary Clinton. There's nothing about Hillary Clinton that's going to ever make me like her. So, and I have a significantly more negative view of Tulsi Gabbard today than I did even a year ago. And that's saying a lot these days. Same thing with AOC. But anyhow, but that's it about JD Vance. He's the running mate. He's basically, to me, he's some people say it doesn't make sense that he chosen somebody from Ohio, which is a safe state. But I look at it this way. State, I think it makes kind of sense as far as the geography is concerned, because if you need to get those states that Michael Moore called Brexit states in 2016, when he predicted that Donald Trump was going to win by winning Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Wisconsin. That's what he predicted was going to happen. And Michael Moore was correct. And Chuck Schumer was wrong when Chuck Schumer said, for every blue collar union white working class voter we lose, we're going to gain 4 suburban moderate Republicans, which didn't happen. And if you want to go and create a working class movement in this country, I don't know if we really want to see 4 suburban moderate white Republicans coming into that fold. Why don't they just go into the Republican Party and fight the good fight to prevent the Republican Party from skirting off the cliff into the valley of fascism? That's what I have to say. So anyway, Ohio would be needed, because if he'll get Ohio, but if you're wanting a Trump victory, Pennsylvania could go to Trump. Michigan is a battleground state. It could go to Trump. Wisconsin could go to Trump. And so strategically, I think it makes sense to choose Vance in that regard. I would say that, I think Trump wanted to, what really Trump really wanted in a vice presidential candidate was a female running mate. He wanted a Tulsi Gabbard. He wanted a Tulsi Gabbard, but Tulsi Gabbard, the cameras would be on her in exactly the same way cameras are on AOC from the Squad. And Donald Trump is a camera whore. So that wouldn't work for Trump. And but he would love a female running mate that's attractive, somebody he would potentially love to fuck, so Tulsi Gabbard would have been just right for him. Someone else that he would like is that Christine Noem, but when you shoot your damn dog, that doesn't sit well with a lot of American people. Taking a gun and shooting your dog because your dog is misbehaving. That tells you a lot about a person running for office. So much for Christine Noem. And so there you have it. That's the ticket right there. Now, JD Vance is married to Usha. Let me get that name right, that last name. I did say her last name right without butchering it. Usha Chilukuri. And let me get that photo right there. That's JD Vance, and that's his wife. And here's the thing about it. She was born. I think she was born in India. She was born in the United States. Her parents of Indian descent and everything. Obviously, well, a very attractive woman. I would say if he's got one thing going for him is his wife. She's attractive. So I will say that about her. I don't know about her politics. I do know that when they got married, I believe that she's practicing Hindu. So that's going to be weird to have the second lady be a non-Christian. So, and he's Catholic and she's Hindu. That's my understanding right there in that regard. But some people are not happy about this. And that's where the rubber meets the road. And that is, where is this person? Alt-right personality, influencer, Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is not happy about the marriage between JD Vance and his wife Usha. Because as far as Nick Fuentes is concerned, he looks at him as a quote unquote race traitor, which is pretty damn stupid. And it's just the fact that somebody is married to somebody who has darker skin. that in itself is a pretty damn stupid mindset. But the thing about it is also ignorant in the sense that, and I'm going to say it, JD Vance and his wife Usha, they're the same race. People from India are Caucasian. Even the darker skinned people from India are Caucasian. So, I mean, from that standpoint, it's stupid to say, to call somebody, even in that regard, you're betraying a race. But racism is stupid anyway. So, I mean, that's the thing right there. But it apparently that pisses into Nick Fuentes' Queenies. Well, here's the thing about Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is an incel. Maybe. In the heterosexual world, Nick Fuentes never gotten laid. Never gotten any pussy in his life. He might not be a virgin if the rumor's true that Nick Fuentes, who is an out homophobe, is a closeted cocksucker. Now, I don't care if Nick Fuentes is gay. And I don't think my audience care if Nick Fuentes is gay. But Nick Fuentes, if he's gay, cares if the rest of the world thinks he's gay. That's the point. And so, but even from the standpoint of him being an incel in the heterosexual world, and my advice to Nick Fuentes is, if you want to get laid, maybe you should get rid of that. Really, I mean, if you want to be conservative, that's one thing, to be an normie conservative. You want to be a paleo conservative, you want to be a Pat Buchanan type, that's whatever. But to go into the whole white nationalism thing and 14 words and all that sort of thing, and that doesn't really, it's not really a chick magnet, Nick. It's really not. And and maybe, just maybe, if you don't go around eating your own boogers, that might also help you in the ladies department. So that's just a little word of advice. Just a little word of advice to Nick Fuentes. And maybe it's jealousy. Maybe JD Vance got a way of attracting someone as beautiful as Usha, and Nick Fuentes is alone. If he's a heterosexual, he's alone. Of course, I have my doubts that he's alone because, he's got that boyfriend somewhere. But he can't display his love for him in public because, he's got an image to live up to. All that being a rumor. So I don't want any lawsuits against me for saying what I just said. Very good point, Miguel. Very good point. Very good point. He did a live stream not that long ago. And when the live stream shut down, there was some gay porn that was shown up there. And it was freaking a lot of people out. And then they were like, well, what the fuck? What the fuck? People were like, what the fuck? And the big claim was that that I think that it was like somebody hacked into it to make him look bad or what have you. And some of his producers came out with some convoluted statement that some people said sounded true. And whether it was true or not, we don't know. But what we do know is that there's a rumor circulating around about Nick Fuentes. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out, And so while I disagree with JD Vance when it comes to his basic ideology, being a normie Republican is a pretty bad thing to be from my perspective. Um, it's a whole lot worse to be what Nick Fuentes is ideologically, and that's my take on that. You know, and there's no ambiguity about it. I mean, he is. I mean, he went on Alex Jones with Kanye West, which, and here's the thing. Nick Fuentes, to be fair, Nick Fuentes is half Italian and half Mexican. Now, granted, I know he's a more Caucasian shade of Mexican. But the fact is that the white nationalists have a hatred for people from Mexico. So, I mean, a lot of this, racism doesn't make any sense. Add to the fact that Kanye West, who's a flaming anti-Semite, they're not exactly, Hitler and company weren't exactly lovey-dovey toward blacks. Now, it's true that in Germany, they weren't in the concentration camps. I mean, they did a few blacks that lived in Germany during the Third Reich lived, strangely enough, within the German population. I wouldn't say they had the best treatment in the world, but they were slightly safer to be black in Germany than it was to be, Jewish or Gypsy, but or Russian, or what have you. But the point I'm trying to make is that he all of a sudden has this love for Hitler, Kanye West. Now, in his case, I think he's like batshit crazy. That's what I think he is. If something has happened in his life, and he just went batshit crazy. Now, Alex Jones, I got a lot of problems with Alex Jones's politics for this part, but I don't think he's to that level. He's got a lot of bad politics, Alex Jones. He's not incorrect on everything. I mean, he is anti-war, and there are some basic libertarian positions that he upholds as shared by the left. So, do I have a better opinion of Alex Jones than, let's say, Ben Shapiro? Yes, I would say so. But yeah, Alex Jones is pretty bad on a lot of things, but not to the level of Kanye West, not to the level of Nick Fuentes. And I would say the same thing about Donald Trump. I don't think he's to that level. But the thing about it is that Nick Fuentes, it's very easy to it's easy to just give up the hate. And I know saying this, it sounds cliche, but it's so negative. It's so much negative to the hatred. Hatred in itself is so negative. I'm not saying you have to go and hate everything Western and all of that. I mean, that's stupid too. But to just sit there and to go and just want to cleanse your country of people who are not white that's so much negativity right there. But racism is for losers. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Well, let's go back to situation with JD Vance. Yeah, well, his wife. Let me find Usha. As I said, I don't know too much about Usha, her ideology, what have you. Is she as far right? Is she is whatever? Is she even political? Have no idea. But one thing I have noticed about Usha, she reminds me. She kind of looks a little bit like, to me she does. She looks a little bit like former city councilwoman Kashama Sawant. of Seattle. I don't know if y'all noticed that, which is not a bad thing. I mean, because again, I personally, I always personally thought that she was hot, Kashama Sawant. So, and I just hope that, and I don't think this is the case. I don't think that Usha's politics is as hot as Kashama Sawant's politics. But yeah, you're right, Warren. She is one fine mama. Yeah, and here's the thing, Kashama Sawant, beautiful woman of color. She's everything that Tulsi Gabbard and AOC should have been, but wasn't able to be. So I still have my dirty thoughts about Tulsi Gabbard and AOC, though. And there are leftists in those dirty thoughts. Behave. Okay. But anyway, I just wanted to go ahead and talk about this whole thing with JD Vance. Wanted to go and talk about this whole thing with Nick Fuentes and the whole thing with Donald Trump running and all that, and the ensuing bloodbath we're going to see in November. It's going to be a rough ride, boys and girls. It's going to be. Let me go ahead and talk to everyone here because I got to go to work shortly. So let me say my hellos to everybody. I don't want anybody to be left out. I tried to talk to every one of y'all. So I'm going to go and scroll back up to the top. And then we're going to go and see what we can do here. Let's see. All right. Da-da-da. I see Madison LeBeau. JD Vance concerns me because of his ties to Peter Thiel. Well, there is that. But ours always seem to fall in line in the end. Look at Bootlicker Haley. Isn't that the truth, Desert Mantis? Isn't that the truth? That's my case. That's my point about never trust a never Trumper. She was one of the. I mean, I couldn't decide which Republican I despised more in the primary. Was it Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis? I think that maybe slightly more Ron DeSantis because he's such a damn dog down in Florida. He is an authoritarian asshole, but she's proposed authoritarian legislation as a presidential candidate, and oh my gosh, she's talking about all the wars out there she wants to see happening. So there is that as well. So and I'm not surprised. I think she's going to end up in the administration. She's going to end up in the administration. Let's see. Memory of my dad. He listened to Rush Limbaugh 3 hours every day. Now, I got a funny story for you. When I was in the Socialist Party USA, the national secretary, he's still the national secretary, Greg Payson. Good guy. His father was a Republican. And when he used to drop by the national office, and they would be like folding and stuffing letters and magazines to send out to the membership. And he was asking Greg, can I listen to Rush Limbaugh while we do this? And he said yes. So all the people, staffers at the SP office, no fans of Rush, obviously, will be laughing their asses off, listening to Rush Limbaugh as they're working, getting their stuff ready and doing their stuff every day at the Socialist Party office. And then, and there's his father is like, yeah, Rush, tell those Democrats off. The only thing they had in common with Rush Limbaugh is the hatred of the Democrats, obviously for different reasons. So anyway, just thought I'd share that story. All right, let's see here. Maybe let's see. Let's see here. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of looking through here. Let's see. I like your analogy. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Ed Heller, how are you today? All of his positions are moved because he's a puppet of APAC. I think all politicians are the puppet of APAC these days. Okay. Let's see. I like how Willie did the transition as if Lucy was a correspondent. Yeah, as I said, she doesn't stream as much as she used to, but yeah, shout out to Lucy. Yeah, but I do miss her doing commentaries and her usual live streaming. I met a lot of you folks through Lucy, by the way. The only thing Lucy's missing is the Weather Channel. Tulsi also nicer to look at than Hillary Clinton. Oh my gosh, yes. JD Vance and Donald Trump combined. Yep, very much so. Let's see. Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Yo. Excellent humor impression. I try to do that. Dr. Nick Riviera. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Hi, everyone. Hi, everybody. Consummate professional. Oh, Willie is a consummate professional. Yep. He's mad, referring to Nick Fuentes because JD Vance is married to an Indian. That's what I think. It just is as I said, racism doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Present day Johnny Carson. I don't know about that, but thank you though. I appreciate the compliments. Willie wears the magic shirt of power, available where finer superhero gear is sold. Let's see. Oh, is that the case? Is one of his kids named Vivek? That's crazy. Let's see. Yep. Oh yes. Yeah. I forgot where I bought this shirt last year, but I saw this shirt. It was good price. I do remember that. I always try to buy new shirts at a low price because I do a podcast. I do live stream, and I don't want y'all to think I wear the same old thing all the time. So I try to buy as much as I can whenever I can at an affordable price. Okay, I'm going to, as I said, I'm going to log off very shortly. Rowan Miller, how are you? At least anti-Israel. Okay, there's two kinds of anti-Israel. So, if you're anti-Israel because you don't like what Israel's doing to the Palestinians, ally. If you're anti-Israel because you don't like Jews and you're white nationalists, can't work with you. That's where I draw the line. But thankfully, most people are not like that. So, because anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitic, it's just against the Israeli government, oppressing the Palestinian people. I mean, if and remember, they weren't always the colonizers. It were other people who colonized. The British were colonizers too. So if the British were to stay there, we would be condemning the British for doing the same thing. Would we all be anti-British? Just as if we were all criticizing Saudi Arabia for what they were doing to the people of Yemen. Does that make us all anti-Saudi? We don't like their governments. We don't like a lot of governments, but we don't hate the people that live there. It's like, that's the thing right there. Fuentes looks like he borrowed his older brother's suit and decided to pretend he was a traveling preacher. What is Fuentes' claim to fame? Being an alt-right person, basically being a dorkier version of Richard Spencer. Let's see. As I said, I'm trying to be fair and to give everybody a say, because I'm gonna get off here in a moment. So I want to make sure nobody gets missed and everybody kind of gets heard. So fairly soon going to be leaving. So that's what it comes down to. And looks like I got pretty much everyone here. I'm looking through here. Okay. And I'm going to log off shortly because, as I said, I have to go to work in a little bit. So again, I'm going to bring back that announcement. Braglands is coming back soon. Jimmy and we're getting back together to do Braglands. She's got a birthday. She's got to celebrate first. And then we're going to work out our details and everything. So probably in late July, early August, we'll be back on every Tuesday at 5 p.m. So just hold tight. We'll be back. We're not going anywhere. We're just on hiatus for a while. So yeah, yep. We're getting back the band together again, as you say. So excuse me. Yeah. So anyway, thing about it is, that's happening, and tomorrow, because Extra Bull is here. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Morning Extra, hosted by Warren Extra Bulla, will be on. So I just go ahead and watch the show. It comes on every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to go ahead and watch that. And any other announcements I'm trying to think of? I have a video that's going to be on Project 2025. A friend of mine and I are going to co-host the show together to talk about it. We're just trying to work out a time, so I put that show on delay. So there is that. So anyway, if you like what you heard, please press like and comment. Comment any way if you disagree with what I have to say. Feel free to share the content I have on this channel. As the First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we are, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Let's see. Reject corporate media. Subscribe to the Willie Bragg Show on all my platforms, of course. And remember this: to pardon Julian Assange. Being freed is one thing. Being pardoned is also another thing, and that needs to happen. So free Julian Assange, pardon Julian Assange, rather. Free Palestine. Free healthcare for all, so we can catch up with the other countries around the world. And of course, free speech absolutism, so we can all have our say. Take care, y'all. I'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.